The tripod has been assembled. I'm serious now. This is gonna be a real YouTube video. What a concept. So hello, my name's Rachel. I'm new to YouTube, new to BookTube in general. But yeah, today we're gonna do a reading vlog. We're gonna do a reading vlog. We're gonna do a wrap up. It's gonna be great. So I reread Jane Eyre by Shirley Bronte and The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. I've already read these books, totally love them, a couple of my favorite books of all time, and so it's, you know, fall time, it's autumn, it's a great time to reread some spooky classics. That's what we're gonna be serving up today. I will give y'all a heads up, I film with my phone, in case that wasn't already evident. I'm not a real YouTuber yet. Who knows if I ever will be at this point, I don't know. But during the vlog, it's selfie mode a lot of the time. So like, sometimes I'm holding up a book and it's flipped. I don't know if there's a way for me to edit that yet. I'm barely started to edit the vlog footage, so we will see if I can actually figure out what the heck I'm doing using the default Microsoft video editor. We'll see. But yep, so we have a vlog. Then at the end, we have a wrap up. I do kind of give some of my thoughts as I go in the vlog. If I have something semi-interesting to say in the vlog, I say it, obviously. But my more organized thoughts will come in the wrap up. I'm filming the wrap up the same day as I'm filming the intro, so you're gonna come back to this. Look like a hot mess in the vlog, but I'm done up today. I got my cute Walmart shirt on. And at the end, you're going to see all of this again when I wrap things up very nicely. As far as spoilers, do I get into some specific details about the texts? Yes, I do. But I feel like without context, if you've never read these before, you're not going to know a whole lot about what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to make sense. Like, I'm going to be talking about some different elements, but without me telling you exactly the context, I feel like it's not going to make much sense at all, and I'm not going to, like, spoil twists or anything like that. So that's what to expect. First reading vlog, yay! See you in a minute. Okay, so one thing that I've been thinking a lot about that I didn't really notice before. So when I read Jane Eyre for the first time as like a 16-year-old, I didn't really internalize much of a connection between Jane Eyre's childhood and her adulthood, other than just obviously growing up in such a crappy circumstance and being stepped on her whole life, and how it was so easy to fall in love with somebody who was even a little bit nice to her. Like, I got that. But one thing that I'm now noticing is how much of the concept of sin kind of plays out here. So, like, we see this kind of as a child, she's constantly being accused of things that she's not doing. And she's really acting out as a result. And now, like, we're kind of seeing, like, later in her life, this exploration of what actually is sin, what is right, what is actually right, versus what does society tell us. And does any of it matter? And does any of it bear any weight on how we really feel, or is that separate? So we kind of have this idea of what God could think, what society could think, and then what we could think of ourselves. But yeah, I think that that's interesting. I've not picked up on that previously. And I think that people like to kind of crap on Jane Eyre, particularly Mr. Rochester, because there's obviously a lot of questions of morality, and I think that we should treat them as questions of morality. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like at least 3/4 of the way through this book, we don't have a lot of, like, answers. It's like a lot of just exploring. And I kind of wonder if that's more what Shirley Bronte was attempting to do. Oh, I don't remember this. And you know St. John, she has no choice of helpers. She is forced to put up with such crusty people as you.
Oh, so majestic.
So I was able to read a little bit more at work today because I have my 8th graders. I'm a teacher. When I have my 8th graders they do like a monthly book report, but it's like different. Don't think book report, it's different from that. But like, it's like a reading activity for something that they enjoy each month. I give them little bits of time in class throughout the week to read, and whenever they read, I read because it sets a good example and it's fun. So I realized though, and I realized this before too, I'd almost completely forgotten this, whoever she is. Oh my god, I don't even know her name because I've completely forgotten about her existence up until now. Miss Oliver. That took so freaking long for me to just find the word. Yeah, Miss Oliver, I completely forgot that she existed because she's not in the movie. Also, St. John, in hindsight, I thought he was cast pretty well in the movie before, but now that the story is super fresh in my head, the casting was excellent. Like, he really captured his absolutely bizarre demeanor. I think he's so weird. Like, I don't know, just some of the stuff that he says, it's just, he's so awkward, and he's constantly able to, like, see people, like, for who they really are, which is cool. One thing I also noticed as I keep going is how often people are just like telling Jane that she's so plain or not pretty. And it's just like really awkward. They're like, oh, she's so handsome. You know, not like you. It's ridiculous. And it just kind of makes me feel like back then there's no way that that was seen as mean as it is now, you know? Like, because it's just so nonchalant. I feel like, you know, it's probably just an observation, and it's not considered super negative or anything. Like, people, or at least Charlotte Bronte, kind of saw it as looking at someone objectively. But still, it reads kind of funny in the 21st century. So. Okay, so it's Saturday, and I do have some things I need to do, so I did some grocery shopping, and I need to continue putting groceries away, and then I need to clean my house, do some laundry. I need to clean, my house needs to be pretty much done by the time it's like 1:30 because I have friends coming over, and my bestie is allergic to cats. I have a cat, so I gotta get as much kitty fur out of my carpet as possible, which, I mean, I do that pretty much every week or every other week anyway, but it's due. So I don't know how much reading is gonna happen today because they're gonna be over for like a while, and we're gonna watch probably Donnie Darko, and we're probably going to eat because we can't hang out together without eating like pigs, so we're gonna do that. But yeah, I gotta get these groceries put away, laundry, clean, and I'm hanging out with my peeps. At some point between today and tomorrow, I've got to get some grading done. So I'm staying on top of things. So I'm not really sure how much reading time I'm going to have. But we'll see. I'm almost done with Jane Eyre. I ended up reading a little bit last night, and I got through page 418, I think, and it's got 461 pages in it. So I'm this close. I should be able to finish this weekend, no problem. The problem is I always have so much other stuff to do, and when you're an English teacher and you're grading is reading. So I have like paragraphs to grade. Just little paragraphs. So nothing too major, but it takes a minute to get through all of them. So we'll see what I get accomplished.
Oh my goodness. He wild.
Oh. Why?
Hyper boy. Hyper boy.
I didn't get any reading done on Saturday. Well, it was clean. I did a lot of laundry. Like, the laundry is done, so that's cool. Today I'm gonna go for a walk. I'm gonna do that right now. Then I'm going to do some grading, and then hopefully I could just finish Jane Eyre tonight. That would be wonderful, but who knows? Alright, so I made it to St. John's. Absolutely cringiest moment. Your words are such as ought not to be used, violent, unfeminine, and untrue. They betray an unfortunate state of mind. They merit severe reproof. They would seem inexcusable. Like, he's such a baby. I don't like you. Your words are unfeminine and untrue. My bangs are a mess, but still. Mess. My bangs are as messy as St. John right now, to be honest. Look at this crap. Ugh. Mess. He's a mess. I can't stand him, to be honest. And like I said, the actor does this really well in the movie too. Like, he's just stone cold, just like he's described. I think, I don't know, I do see St. John as a bit of a misogynist. He doesn't respect Jane and her wishes at all. Like, it's just kind of like him trying to get what he wants all the time. And sometimes I think that he can see people fairly clearly for who they are, but then he gets too willful. Like, could Jane probably be a pretty good missionary's wife? Yeah, probably. I think that she could do the traveling. I think that she likes an active lifestyle, as she's herself had said, but like, you can't just... You can't just try to force someone to love you, obviously, or not even, like, he has a weird definition of love, just force someone to accept you and accept what you want for them. He's cringe. I don't like him. So today I am starting my reread of The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. I read that book a year ago for the first time. I really loved it. I thought it was great. And I want to read again already because I think I might teach it. So I'm an English teacher and I think I might add this in because we need something that's old but interesting. So seems like a great contender. I'm barely getting started. I got this beautiful edition. I think these are like the Penguin horror editions. Yeah. And it's got the quote on the back that kind of starts the whole thing. No live organism can continue for long to exist sanely under conditions of absolute reality. So yeah, super cool. And so since I'm considering teaching this thing, along the way I am kind of making some quick notes. Basically notes on what happens in each part and how I want to teach certain things or what I want to draw attention to. Why, yes, I am reading with my Edward Cullen bookmark that I got at Borders when I was like 13 or 12. 13. Whatever. Dinner has been served. I'm in my pajamas again. It's been a long week. I've been staying after school to get a lot of work done and stuff, so I stayed till like 4:15 today. Didn't get home until like 4:30. And my goal is to just kind of not do anything else tonight because I didn't really have a ton of free time last night either. So I need to do my dishes, and then I'm gonna read some more of Hill House. I'm having so much fun rereading this book, and I think it is very teachable. There are some parts that are like quite spooky and engaging. I mean, the whole thing's engaging, but I do enjoy the kind of childlike nature of the characters. I think it is kind of refreshing. I get annoyed in real life when adults are way too seriously. Or they're just taking everything way too seriously and they're just too serious of people. So I think it's cool when I read characters that are pretty lighthearted, although I'm pretty sure these characters are all really lighthearted because they have issues, which same. Yeah, I'm having a ton of fun. Yeah, I love the layers of meaning in Hill House and how like it's so difficult to determine what exactly is going on, because like in the book you don't really have like physical ghosts. It's just the house itself is considered to be bad. And that makes it tricky because like, why is it bad? It seems to draw out particular characteristics of people. And so you can just see how Eleanor is changing as we go. She's getting really moody. She's all of a sudden just kind of having an issue with everybody when simultaneously all she wants is to belong. And that's turned into she wants to belong to the house. And she just wanted to stop being so lonely. But her human companions are not as attracted to her at this point compared to the house. And so it's always so weird when Theodora has these kind of passive-aggressive comments towards Eleanor and is like accusing her of doing some of these things herself. You know, and then she acts like it's all lighthearted. On the one hand, I don't know how much sense that makes, but on the other hand, I always want to trust Theodora more because she knows things. The whole reason why she's in this house is because of her kind of psychic ability, how she was able to, in another room, guess which cards were pulled. And then if we look at Eleanor's abilities, you know, she was allegedly flinging big rocks into her house. Like, she could move things. and make things happen, and Theodora can know things. So it would make sense if Eleonora was kind of the haunting itself, and if Theodora was onto it. Or maybe, you know, the house could, you know, maybe the house is alive, and it just uses Eleonora as this kind of vessel. It's just, it's cool, and it's a lot to think about. And I don't have like a clear answer or clear theory. This is going to be a really fun book to teach for that reason. All right, y'all. All right, so wasn't that a journey? It's very much a struggle to try to read for fun when you're an English teacher. A lot of this was like, you know how much blog footage I looked at where it's just like me trying not to fall asleep when I read. And these are books that I love. So yeah, it's a little draining at times. Just saying. I do love teaching, but it does kind of suck out the personal time, the fun time. So the edition that I read of Jane Eyre is the Collins Classic version. I got this in the bargain section of, I think it was technically Borders at the time. Yeah, I think it was Borders when I was 16. And I read it shortly after I got it, and it was one of my favorite books pretty much instantly. This was like one of the first classics I read on my own. I think the first one I read was like To Kill a Mockingbird. I also have this beautiful edition that I recently got at Barnes & Noble. I did not read this one. I don't like touching this one too much because it's so pretty and I'm scared that I'm going to like destroy it, but love them. Anyway, this one's good too. I read it for the first time when I was 16, and some things that really got my attention about Jane was, first of all, just the kind of feminist nature of the book. I did really appreciate that. I also really was drawn to Shirley Bronte's writing style, and this is something that holds up to this day full on. There's something about the way that this woman writes where you are just feeling every feeling that the main character feels. And I've noticed this in her other works as well. I've read everything by her except Shirley. I need to read Shirley at some point. It doesn't sound as interesting as the others, but I'm sure it's good because it's her. But yeah, I just really appreciate that as a reader, how I'm able to really resonate with the characters and really kind of feel what they're going through. Like, the emotion that she is writing jumps off the page, and I feel like a lot of writers at her time, and even now, I think kind of lack that ability to really make us feel what the characters are feeling. And, you know, all the good things and all the bad things. So there's so many scenes where even rereading, sorry, I keep looking to see what my cat's doing, but there's so many scenes, like even rereading, where I'm just so amazed by how much everything just jumps off the page. Like, there's just these really dramatic scenes between Jane and Edward Rochester where I'm reading them and I'm just like, oh my god, this is so much. My heart is just gonna burst. Like, the more dramatic scenes and the more kind of lovey scenes, like, you feel the butterflies. I'm telling you, like, this woman knew what she was writing. She knew what she was doing. And if you look into kind of Charlotte Bronte's life, she had confided into her friends that maybe she kind of settled for her own husband. So I feel like this was maybe the kind of love that she wanted versus the love that she had, for sure. I know that, and I kind of talk about this a little bit in the vlog as well, I know that the morality can kind of turn some people off to Jane Eyre because it's murky, for sure. The morality is murky. There are going to be things in any Victorian literature that we look at and we're like, they really thought that was the best solution to their problems? Like, what? But it's kind of the way it was back then. Like, people didn't always know better. But yeah, I do still have some sympathy for Bertha Mason. And Jane does a little bit. Charlotte doesn't really dwell on that very much. And so as a result, if what I'm saying resonates with you, definitely check out the book Wide Sargasso Sea by Jean Rhys. I think that's how you say her name. I got to read this for a women in literature class when I was getting my bachelor's in English and English Ed. This is basically incredibly sophisticated fan fiction in a way. You can put it together that this is about Bertha Mason. This is about her history. So if that is a character that you really sympathize with and you feel like that Jane Eyre just did not do it justice, pick up this book. It's very good. And since I reread Jane Eyre, I kind of want to reread this at some point because it's a very, very excellent piece of literature, also very well written. And I was thinking about this version of Bertha a lot compared to, you know, the first time I read it. I don't think I was quite as sympathetic as a teenager when I read Jane Eyre for the first time as Bertha as I am now. And, you know, maybe it's because of this book, but I think a lot of it is just because, like, I'm able to empathize probably a little bit more with Age. My cat is yelling at me again. Anyway, but yeah, definitely recommend this book. And as I mentioned in the blog as well, it was nice just remembering all of these details that were left out in the film. I watch the 2011 film literally all the time. I love it so much. It's one of my comfort things. And so there are things that are left out. And I knew that, you know, when I watched it, I kind of felt like it was, the film really captures the spirit of the book. It's just, it really fast tracks everything. It was nice to be able to kind of slow down and really absorb everything. Like, there are scenes that last just a couple minutes in the movie that you spend ages reading about, and the emotion just jumps off the page the entire time, which is wonderful. But yeah, it's cool to read this when you're older. Like, if you read a classic when you're younger, I feel like I understand everything a little bit more, and I'm making more connections, the things I didn't see before. But yeah, it was really nice. I'm actually going to be reading a couple quick chapters with my honors group, for Jane Eyre, just to kind of see how we deal with it, you know, to see how they handle it. Also because I think the first couple chapters of Jane Eyre, her childhood is like literally a hot mess, and some of it's kind of funny, like that iconic line, "How do you avoid hell? I must keep in good health and not die." Like, love that. My kids are gonna like that too. They're gonna think it's funny. So, loved rereading Jane Eyre. So my next spooky reread was The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. So I read Jane Eyre for the first time when I was 16. I'm 25 now. I'm going to be 26 by the end of the year. I read The Haunting of Hill House for the first time last year. Love the edition so much. I loved this book. I devoured it so quickly, and I did the same thing when I reread it. So this one, I read the book, totally devoured it, and then I devoured the show version. And even though the Netflix show is very different from the book, it is so amazing. And in some ways, arguably, maybe even better. But they're both so amazing on their own, though. I don't want to, like, crap on Shirley Jackson's masterpiece, because this is a masterpiece, and I would love to see a more faithful adaptation. A lot of people don't know this, but Stephen King has a mini-series called Rose Red, and that one was based off of The Haunting of Hill House. It's closer to the book than the Netflix version. And it is a bit dated, and I'm not sure how well it holds up, how well it has aged, because I haven't watched it in a very long time, but it's out there, just so you know. But one thing I really appreciate about this book is the psychological nature of it. Like, it's not just jump scares, you know. You really get into Eleanor's psyche and a little bit into Theodore's psyche. And there are different kind of traits about the characters that you have to kind of wonder, you know, how much you can trust them, how much you can trust Eleanor specifically. But I just love how creepy it gets, and how that creepiness just kind of keeps on increasing as you read. There are some parts that really are downright spooky. And I like that it doesn't spoon feed you things. Like, when I say that it's psychological nature, you kind of have to make those connections yourself. You know, Shirley Jackson is not here to, like, be the professor that tells you what to think. You know, it's just, you kind of have to put this together yourself. And I felt like I made even more connections upon rereading it. And kind of little references to it in the show, I feel like I picked up on more of them now. Like, thinking back to the show, making the connection back to the book since rereading. I feel like there was something else I needed to say about this. Yeah, also, Shirley Jackson's also just a very wonderful writer. I love her characters. I love her writing style, and overall, there are some passages that are just so beautiful. I mean, my God, just the first and the last lines alone are so iconic. Silence lay steadily against the wood and stone of Hill House, and whatever walked there walked alone. Like, rolls right off the tongue. That is just Chef's Kiss. I feel like I didn't do that right with my hand, but whatever. So good. Really enjoyed rereading it. Totally recommend it. This one, so between this one and Jane Eyre, if you are totally new to these books, I know that these are classics. Probably, if you're watching this, you probably read them or something. But if you haven't, Hill House is definitely like the scary one. So if you're in the mood for like a scary classic, go for this one. Jane Eyre has some gothic elements to it. So it's more of like a gothic sort of thing. And there are some moments where I feel like, especially for the time period, it's like, ooh, that's actually kind of creepy, or ooh, I'm not really sure what's going on here. But for the most part, if you're going to read Jane Eyre, you're getting this kind of gothic love story. Whereas Hill House, you don't really have a love story at all or anything like that. It's straight up the horror, and it is kind of psychologically trying to figure out what's going on with these characters. I do like how they're both black and orange. It's like they go together, even though they're literally nothing alike. So that's actually all the books I read in September. Were just these rereads. So it took me a little while to get through Jane Eyre. Just because, you know, it's Victorian literature and it takes more time, and the font in this one is a lot smaller than my edition of Hill House, which makes a difference for my reading speed, because it just psychologically feels slower if you've got a tiny font. Even though you might be reading at the same speed, you're turning pages fewer times, or, you know, fewer times per minute or minutes or whatever. But yeah, that was all I read in September. I do tend to only read like 20-something books a year. So I don't know what that's going to say about this channel. Probably a slow upload kind of channel. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do monthly wrap-ups all the time, because it's just like, oh, I'm going to talk about 2 books. But I guess it's still better than reading no books. So I feel like I don't read that much in the grand scheme of YouTube. And just the internet in general. There's some people that read a lot of books. I definitely go at my own pace, so we'll see if that changes as I stay on BookTube, and we'll see if it makes me more or less productive. And if I even stick with this, like, who knows? Who knows what'll happen? My cat is demanding my presence, so it's time to go. But yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. First vlog done.